Can you integrate this? Integrate the square root of x plus 4 over x squared dx. If you try to integrate it exactly as it looks, it may seem unfamiliar. But rewrite it correctly and it becomes a basic power rule question. Let's do it. Integrating roots. Start with the integral of the square root of x dx. A square root can be written as a fractional power. The square root of x equals x to the 1/2. So the integral becomes the integral of x to the 1/2 dx. Now use the power rule. Add 1 to the exponent. 1/2 plus 1 equals 3/2. Then divide by 3/2. X to the 3/2 over 3/2. Dividing by 3/2 is the same as multiplying by 2/3. 2/3 x to the 3/2 plus c. So whenever you see a square root, think, the square root of x equals x to the 1/2. Now let's look at cube roots. Now the integral of the cube root of x squared dx. Rewrite the root. The cube root of x squared equals x to the 2/3. Therefore we need the integral of x to the 2/3 dx. Increase the power. 2/3 plus 1 equals 5/3. Divide by 5/3. X to the 5/3 over 5/3, which is 3/5 x to the 5/3. So the integral of the cube root of x squared dx equals 3/5 x to the 5/3 plus c. The general idea is the nth root of x to the m equals x to the m over n. Fractions with x in the denominator. Now look at the integral of 5 over x cubed dx. Don't integrate it while it's written as a fraction. Rewrite the denominator using a negative exponent. 5 over x cubed equals 5x to the negative 3. So we need the integral of 5x to the negative 3 dx. Add 1 to the exponent. Negative 3 plus 1 equals negative 2. Then divide by negative 2. 5 times x to the negative 2 over negative 2. Therefore, negative 5/2 x to the negative 2 plus c. And if we want positive powers in the denominator, negative 5 over 2x squared plus c. Let's try another negative power. Try the integral of 7 over x to the 4th dx. Rewrite the integral of 7x to the negative 4 dx. Increase the exponent. Negative 4 plus 1 equals negative 3. Divide by negative 3. Negative 7/3 x to the negative 3. Therefore, negative 7 over 3x cubed plus c. Same rule, nothing new. Now there's one case you must not handle with the ordinary power rule. Consider the integral of x to the negative 1 dx. The power rule would require us to divide by negative 1 plus 1, which is 0, and division by 0 is impossible. So this is a special case. The integral of x to the negative 1 dx equals the natural log of the absolute value of x plus c. Since x to the negative 1 equals 1 over x, we also have the integral of 1 over x dx equals the natural log of the absolute value of x plus c. This is one formula you need to remember. Now let's solve an exam-style question. Evaluate the integral of 3 square root of x minus 4 over x squared plus 2x cubed minus 5 over x dx. Don't attack the whole expression at once. First, rewrite everything as powers. The square root becomes x to the 1/2. The fraction 4 over x squared becomes 4x to the negative 2. And 5 over x becomes 5x to the negative 1. So the integral becomes 3x to the 1/2 minus 4x to the negative 2 plus 2x cubed minus 5x to the negative 1 dx. Now integrate each term. First term, 3 times x to the 3/2 over 3/2 equals 2x to the 3/2. Second term, negative 4 times x to the negative 1 over negative 1 equals 4x to the negative 1, which is 4 over x. Third term, 2 times x to the fourth over 4 equals x to the fourth over 2. Fourth term, this is the special case. Negative 5 times the integral of x to the negative 1 dx. Therefore, negative 5, natural log of the absolute value of x. Now combine everything. 2x to the 3 halves plus 4 over x plus x to the fourth over 2 minus 5 natural log of the absolute value of x plus c. Now you try this one. Integrate 2 square root of x plus 3 over x cubed minus 6 over x plus x squared dx. First rewrite 2x to the 1/2 plus 3x to the negative 3 minus 6x to the negative 1 plus x squared. Now integrate term by term. The first term, 2x to the 3 halves over 3 halves equals 4/3 x to the 3 halves. The second term, 3x to the negative 2 over negative 2 equals negative 3 over 2x squared. The third term is the special case, negative 6 natural log of the absolute value of x. And the fourth term, x cubed over 3. So the answer is 4/3 x to the 3 halves minus 3 over 2x squared minus 6 natural log of the absolute value of x plus x cubed over 3 plus c. Before integrating, convert the expression. Here are the 3 conversions to remember. Roots, the square root of x equals x to the 1/2. Fractions, 1 over x to the n equals x to the negative n. Reciprocal, 1 over x equals x to the negative 1. But remember, the integral of x to the negative 1 dx equals the natural log of the absolute value of x plus c. The power rule works for x to the n, when n does not equal negative 1. So your process is now, rewrite, apply the power rule, simplify, add c. In the next lesson, we'll stop simply integrating individual terms and learn how to recognize integration as the reverse of differentiation, which makes the whole subject much easier to understand.